Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another action-packed episode. It's the good and the bad and the ugly, but it's Nitro edition. I'm your host, Brent Piles, and with me, as always, you see him. He's got the badge on. I got it on. Arsenal, North London forever. At J. Russell Nut, Glenn Abbott. How are you?
Very good, thank you. After a dodgy week, yesterday sort of brought it all round nicely to not such a dodgy week.
After the 2-2 draw with Villa, it was nice to go out there and get a 3-0 win in the Champions League. And more importantly, it put us up to third and all but assures us a spot in the knockout stage without us having to play one of those dreaded play-in games. All we need is a point in our last game, which I would hope that we'd be able to pull off. So that's good, very good news regarding the Champions League.
You know, even if we don't get the point, I think Inter have got to beat somebody by 11.
Oh, well, yeah.
Goals or something.
And that's going to be a bit of a hill to climb to score 11 goals. That's a lot.
It is, yeah. There'd be something definitely iffy going on if they score 11. But anyway, the future in the Champions League looks rosy for now.
Yeah, a lot of people are, they're claiming that this season is lost. It's a terrible season. Well, we're doing pretty good in the Champions League. So everybody, let's just relax a little bit, calm down, and see where things lie.
Exactly. We're still second in the league.
Yeah.
Behind arguably the best team in Europe at the moment.
I mean, they haven't lost a game in the Champions League. I mean, Liverpool was the fucking top form. I mean, I would say that they're the best team in the world right now if I had to pick one.
Yes.
Definitely.
It could be worse. It could be City. Or Tottenham even.
You never want to be Tottenham. Yeah, no, definitely. So, yeah, fun Champions League win. It was nice that Kai Havertz because he got a goal. I know we drew against Villa, but he got a goal against Villa. He got a nice assist yesterday and a goal. So it's nice that he, got a little bit of redemption after that tough game he had in the FA Cup and then all the hate that he got online. Which I did see that they found the asshole that threatened Mrs. Havertz, and he's been charged and has been banned from life from the Emirates. He is never allowed to attend an Arsenal game ever again. So
excellent. I hope they throw away the key on him as well.
That's right. Absolutely, they should.
Let's teach some of the bastards to do that.
That's I think if you started charging people, like that doesn't happen over here, but if you started doing that, more people would definitely think twice about giving up. And I'm not saying if you get online and tell somebody they're an asshole to charge, but if you're threatening someone's wife, I think that's enough to regard some charges. In my opinion,
it definitely is. Let's get to talking some wrestling, shall we?
Let's talk about some wrestling. So we watched Nitro this week because, as you've heard me rant and rave every episode probably that we've had since Netflix got Raw, they have not moved, but only 20 episodes of 1998 Raw over to Netflix. So that's all we currently can watch, and that's not enough. So we decided that until they start putting the Raws up, we'll review Nitro. And even when they put the Raws up, we've agreed to go alternating weeks from 1996 Nitro to 1998 WWF. And we didn't want to start at the beginning of 1996 because there's still a lot of really silly stuff. Like the Dungeon of Doom was very prominent still in the early months of 1996. So I wanted to fast forward until the very first night that the NWO sort of showed up on Nitro. And so we went with the May 27th, 1996 edition of Nitro, which is one day after my 12th birthday, Glenn. Yeah, Macon, Georgia, at the Macon Coliseum is where this took place. This is actually the first 2-hour edition of Nitro, and it would stay that way up until it moved to 3 hours in January of 1998. Glenn, what do you think about the first match?
12 year. It was all right. I would compare that with a half decent Raw tag team match. Considering that you had Ric Flair and Arn Anderson in there.
Yeah.
It wasn't as impressive as it could have been.
Ric Flair and Arn Anderson are taking on guys with possibly one of the most ridiculous and annoying theme songs, besides maybe Right to Censor, and that is Marcus Bagwell, not Buff yet, just Marcus Bagwell and his tag team partner, Scotty Riggs, and they are the American males. American males, American males, American males, American.
Amer-
Are you annoyed yet? I was trying to annoy people. I hope it worked. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was an interesting way to kick off Nitro. I guess they're building toward a match at the Great American Bash. Arn Anderson and Ric Flair will be taking on Steve Mongo McMichael and NFL linebacker Kevin Green.
Okay, that's it. That's enough. I actually another outstanding match. As I said, the thing that I can remember most about this, I actually remember more about this show as I watched it than I thought I did, was Ric Flair with the champagne at the commentary desk.
Oh yeah, he was pouring it.
Just takes a hike halfway through the match and opens up champagne and
yeah. So I mean, Larry Zbyszko is really just running down Kevin Green and Mongo in this match. I will say the fans were really into this, and they were really behind the American males. And I think that might be because I think Buff Bagwell's from, I don't think he's from Macon, but I believe he's from that area. And so maybe they're just behind their hometown guy. I'm not 100% sure, but I know he's from somewhere in Georgia. I'm not sure how close to Macon it is. But and then, yeah, Ric Flair's got like a VIP table set up in the aisle. He's pouring champagne.
They're going to go with the hometown guy, haven't they?
Yeah. He gets into a shoving match with the referee, which was fun. Things break down eventually, and Arn Anderson hits a DDT on Bagwell, and then Flair pins him for the win. A decent match.
Yeah,
better than I thought it was going to be when I saw the American males coming out here. After the match, you got a promo with Anderson and Flair. They talk about, well, the funny thing about this to me is that Ric Flair references NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle needs to get involved.
Oh, right.
And it was strange to me because Pete Rozelle hadn't been the NFL commissioner for 7 years by this point. So I didn't really understand why he said Pete Rozelle.
It's the last one he could remember when he'd been sober, no doubt.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. I mean, he was the NFL commissioner in like the 70s and the 80s, but not by 1996. I don't even think that Pete Rozelle was living in 1996, to be honest with you. I don't know, but I don't think he was. I mean, it's your basic Ric Flair stuff. He runs down Mongo's wife, who's Deborah McMichael, which is going to grow on to be Deborah in WWE, and then she married Steve Austin, and they talk about how Miss Elizabeth is Ric Flair's sugar daddy because they're spending up all of Macho Man's divorce money, apparently.
It's money, yeah. That's right.
So that's happening.
Yeah.
After that, we got like a video montage of Mongo and Kevin Green training for the match at the Great American Bash. So that was something.
That was something. Then,
yep.
We got a very intriguing match.
Yeah, very, very high level of contest here. Steve Dahl is going to be taking on the Mauler. It's Mike Enos, but I don't think they said Mike Enos. I think they just said the Mauler.
Not a lot really to say about it, is there?
No, I mean, the match, there's not really anything to say about the match at all because nobody even probably... I mean, this is the most famous thing that probably Steve Dahl and Mike Enos have ever done in the wrestling business, but it has nothing to do with them because they didn't have anything to do with it. Nobody cares about the match. This has nothing to do with the match. Midway through, we can see a man making his way through the crowd and down toward the ringside area. I thought it was funny that this man was able to just saunter his way down to the ring when they kept talking all night about how security was trying to keep Randy Savage out of the building, but apparently they weren't looking for...
No, that's it. Well, you're not Randy Savage. Go ahead. Doesn't matter that you were part of the opposition.
Right. Just go on in there. It's fine. Yeah, you can see the reaction of the fans as he starts to make his way. He jumps over the rail, gets on the mic. I'm not going to sit here and recite everything that he said because you guys remember, you all know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. He says we a lot. He references the billionaire Ted and the Nacho Man and the Huckster, which I believe they were doing billionaire Ted skits on WWF TV at this time, which they were using that. The match completely stopped, and they just sent the guys out. And then, Scott Hall.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That was all this match was just to fill the time until Scott Hall got to the ring.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, that was probably that, and then the ending was probably the most exciting parts of this entire show, because this wasn't a great show. I mean, I'm not going to say it was bad. I would say it was average.
We've seen some worse on WWF from this sort of time, but considering how earth-shattering it's gone down in wrestling history, the actual show itself wasn't great.
Yeah, no.
Which I suppose you could have said a lot about Raws from 1997 as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, and if we go back and look at Raws from 1996, I bet they weren't fucking pleasant either. So, you know what I mean?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
You think of how it was going into 97.
Yeah.
You had that all in 96. God.
96 had to be real bad. Yeah. And then we got another barn burner up next. It's Sergeant Craig Pitbull Pittman with Theodore Long taking on Diamond Dallas Page. This isn't the DDP that you're going to know later on in WCW. This guy had like 20 gimmicks. He had like a cigar and sunglasses and a fur coat, and there was a lot going on with DDP at this point.
Yeah. And nothing to, I suppose the only thing you could say is that after 3 minutes, DDP put everybody out of their misery with a diamond cut.
Yeah, I mean the Sergeant Pittman here. It was funny at the beginning, like DDP was mocking him, and he did like 20 of the worst push-ups I've ever seen anyone do. They weren't good. They looked like if you had like a 6-year-old kid and you asked him to do push-ups, that's how he would do them, which I thought was really funny. And then like Pitbull Pittman's doing one arm, like perfect form, one arm push-ups. DDP tries to kick him. Pittman moves out of the way, and DDP, like he slipped on a vent, takes a big bump. Pittman controlled all of the match until he was like in a submission hold by the ropes, and DDP like grabbed Teddy Long's jacket, tried to pull him into the ring, and then he shoved him back. And then when Pittman went to go check and see if Long was okay, he got back in the ring and turned right into a diamond cutter, and that was it.
And what can we say about the next bit? The Shark promo.
Oh, well, at first they had the like video package showing like Randy Savage going crazy because Ric Flair and Liz are spending up all his money. But then the Shark promo. Wow.
You take the most handsomest man in wrestling and you dress him up as a shark, including face paint.
Yeah.
It's nearly as bad as covering his head with football.
Yeah, at least they didn't cover up his face, just being how handsome he is. But this promo was not very good. He is very angry. Apparently he had been kicked out of the Dungeon of Doom. He's going to end the Giant tonight, win the World Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. That's exactly how he said it. We love Handsome Earthquake, but this isn't the gimmick for him, and this wasn't the promo for him.
No. Sorry, it was even a little bit more forgivable when he was in the Dungeon of Doom. But now he's definitely a shark out of water.
He is a shark way out of water. Yeah. A great way to put it, yeah. We then head to the second hour, which they did something unique here. They would switch the announce teams during the second hour. First hour was Larry Zbyszko, Tony Schiavone, and the second hour they switch up to Eric Bischoff and Bobby the Brain Heenan to do the second hour. And they kick it off with a World Heavyweight Championship match. The Giant World Heavyweight Champion defending against the person we just talked about, the Shark. I'd like to say this match was good, but I'd be lying.
The Shark. Yeah. It wasn't even big meaty men slapping meat that well.
And you got to think by this time, the Giant had been in the wrestling business for a little more than a year. Not even. I don't think he'd been in the business a year because he had his first match at Halloween Havoc 95.
No.
And this is May of 96. So he hasn't even been in the business a year. He's been the World Heavyweight Champion 2 times. So they kind of put him in a, what's the word? An unenviable position. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's the word. Definitely. To have elevated him that far in such a short time is ridiculous.
I can't take John Tedder seriously dressed up like a shark. And then Jimmy Hart gets involved. Shark grabs him by the neck, which leads to the Giant hitting a chokeslam, getting the win. After the match, what happened after the match, Glenn? It was very interesting.
Big Bubba comes out and starts shaving the Shark.
Sharks don't even have hair.
If you call that interesting. No.
Are sharks mammals? They might have hair. This isn't a science show.
No, they're not. They're fish.
Okay, thank you. But anyway, yeah, that's another underwhelming match. And then we move to another underwhelming match. It's the man we can't get away from, Glenn. It is baked potato face Lex Luger, and he's taking on simply Maxx.
Maxx.
Yep.
He's lost all his muscle, except he had.
Well, he still had lots of muscle, but they didn't call him that anymore. They must have really worked hard to come up with that gimmick. He also had one of the worst haircuts I've ever seen. Like, what the fuck happened to him? Did he get a fight with a lawnmower?
Oh, dear. And again, it's more the commentary sniping at what's going on in the ring than actually commentating on what goes on. Bischoff's having a go about the titanium plate. Mysteriously, Luger doesn't have anymore, but he had it up for the other lot.
Yeah, they took it out. I'm just kidding. It's not possible. Eventually Lex Luger wins this one with the rack, and then unfortunately we had to suffer through a Lex Luger promo. He's talking about beating the Giant at the Great American Bash. They show a replay of the Giant choke slamming Lex Luger through a table, through Ric Flair's VIP table a couple of weeks ago. And apparently they will be the main event of the Great American Bash, which is coming up. Lex Luger will challenge the Giant for the WCW World Championship, which is strange to me because I'm pretty sure that at this point Lex Luger is being presented as a heel, and so is the Giant. So I don't know why you would have the main event of pay-per-view, but what do I know?
No.
What do I know? And the hits just keep on coming, Glenn, because it's Brad Armstrong versus Hard Work Bobby Walker up next.
Whoever gave him the name Hard Work. It was far from any hard work going on in this match. As much as I like the Armstrongs, they do a great job, but
not really a charismatic folk. Besides the Road Dogg, the Armstrongs really aren't a charismatic folk. You know what I mean? They're just not.
No. It reflected in the crowd.
Yeah, nobody gave it.
I think the crowd must have used this as the piss break because nobody cared about this match whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely no one cared. And in the end, like Hard Work Bobby Walker tries to do go from the middle rope to the top rope and then jump off, but he slips. And then he tries to jump off and do like a swinging top rope neck breaker, but he completely missed that too and fucked that up.
Yeah.
But still, Brad Armstrong for the 3 count, and Hard Work Bobby Walker needs to hard work on his fucking high flying moves that look like shit, but he's the winner of this.
Crazy. It is crazy. Anyway, we'll go to something that wasn't quite so crazy and a bit more interesting.
In my opinion, this is the best thing on the entire show, besides maybe Scott Hall.
Lord Steven Regal, versus Alex Wright. And you've gone on record as before as saying how you hadn't realised that this showed it in this match, chucking Regal around all over the place, head scissors, and to be fair, you've got his lordship himself selling like a good one for Alex.
Yeah. This felt like a good match that I would have saw in like the NXT UK when it was on. You know what I mean? This felt like a European wrestling match. You know what I mean? And that makes sense. There's 2 European guys out there, so it makes sense. But really good, hard hitting mat wrestling. I mean, this really was a solid pro wrestling match. I enjoyed it a lot.
It was really good.
Watch anything from this show, I would say this is the only match that you need to watch because the rest of them really aren't up to snuff as far as matches go. The Scott Hall stuff is cool, but yeah, no, this one really had it all for me.
Yeah. I love the promo at the end, Steven Regal, where he says his father would be proud of him for on Memorial Day beating Junior Adolf Hitler.
And then he went on to call the Giant a Barnum and Bailey sideshow freak. And he said it's about time that he has some say about what goes on in the WWE. I also thought that it was funny.
WCW.
Like he had I think he had Alex write like an STF or something. And William Regal, never a dull moment, takes that opportunity to get his face right in the camera as he's cranking back on Alex Wright, and talk shit into the camera while he's doing it. And I love that. I thought that was so good.
Yeah, that is amazing. And then he goes and challenges Sting.
Yeah, he challenges
that's it.
Sting
Go for the top.
And then he says maybe if he beats Sting, he'll be able to get a championship match against the Barnum and Bailey sideshow freak that they have as their world champion, which I thought was funny. Then we get to the main event of the evening. It's Best Buddies, Scott Steiner and Sting, which they never told. Why were they facing each other? They never told us.
No idea whatsoever.
It just didn't make any sense.
All I can say is that, no, Sting wasn't dyeing his hair and it had gone all fluffy, so I don't know whether they're hinting at a heel turn that never happened or what.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is a good match. I mean, a lot of high impact for most of the matches. A lot of big meaty men slapping meat was what this was. This was an absolute hoss fight. Even Scott Steiner even came off the top rope to the outside of the ring with a double axe handle down on the Sting, which is not something that you see Scott Steiner do a lot. So
no.
I mean, a good main event.
Yeah, it was plenty of belly to bellies and throwing Sting around a lot, which you would expect Scott Steiner to be able to do.
There was not any dull moments during this match. Not at all. No dull moments.
Yeah, so that I suppose it sent the crowd away happy.
Yeah. Eventually Rick Steiner and Lex
Steiner against Sting. It's the main event.
Yeah. And they all get into the ring and start fighting. It's a big smosh, a DQ finish, and then they empty the locker room of all the jobbers that they have to try to separate these guys. And yeah, that's how the match ends. But then to end the show, they go ahead. What were you gonna say?
You could put most of WCW and WWF's jobbers from this time together, and Rick and Scott Steiner would beat the lot of them.
Yeah, you wouldn't even need Sting or Lex Luger. Fuck that.
No.
Absolutely. They go back up to the stage where Bischoff and Heenan are kind of talking, and then Scott Hall saunters in again. He says, "We are sick of you out here running your mouth," and Bischoff says, "Who?" And he says, "You know who." And then he tells them, "Oh, this is where the big boys play. What a joke. Tell Billionaire Ted to get 3 of his best, maybe the Nacho Man, or maybe the Stinger, or whatever." And then he says, he throws the toothpick at him, and that's kind of how the show goes off the air, which is a nice cliffhanger.
And WWF's legal department went into overdrive.
Yeah. And Jerry McDivitt started typing. The funny thing about that is,
what's Razor Ramon doing on WCW?
The funny thing about that is, if you go back and watch the Diamond Stud, he looks just like Razor Ramon. So I don't think they have a leg to stand on there. WCW should have sued them for stealing their gimmick.
That's right, in the first place.
Yeah,
Scott Hall's never been any different.
Yeah, no, he's all except for when he was Big Scott Hall in the AWA. That's the only time he's any different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the end of the show. Like I said, I would have to give it 1 thumb in the middle if we were going to judge it, because I mean,
it had as well. Yeah, no,
it had 2 good matches and 2 good, pretty historic wrestling moments. So in that case, I got to give it 1/2 a thumb. But it just wasn't a good show
because it without Scott Hall and a couple of matches, that would have been a downer.
That would have been a double thumbs down. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Glenn, that is it. That's all we got for you guys this week. Who do you want to plug before we get out of here?
I'm booking the territory, doing the first and last of wrestling and their side projects, Unstacking the Territory. They're going into Series 3 of that now. The road to Wembley, 1981, and the most watched wrestling match of all time between Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks. I'm booking the Tankatori the life and times of Tank Abbott and being the elite Gator Golf with, I think they've just finished up on, or they've just finished up the last series of that. Not that impressive, but good to the guys to try and make it as entertaining as possible. And of course,
it's the Doctor Who podcast with Danny Inside. That's on SJP World Media.
And DC and Doc with DDT Wrestling, or as they're calling it now, the DDT Experience, because they don't talk a lot of wrestling.
That's a good way to go. I think the DDT Experience is a good way to name that. Yeah. Yeah, I can make sure you give all those fine people a follow and to listen. If you're on the app known as Blue Sky, we are on Blue Sky. I am on Blue Sky. You can follow me on Blue Sky. It's at AWI Pod. As always, I mostly talk about Arsenal with a little bit of wrestling. It's like Arsenal talk with some potpourri of wrestling, with some wrestling sprinkled all over the top, I like to say. So if you're on that app, you can. That's the only social media we got. So if you want to hear my stupid thoughts and ramblings on Arsenal football, follow us on Blue Sky at AWI Pod. Make sure you follow the mayor of Canton. I think he's still on whatever that app's called now. You can follow him if you're on there. I don't think he's doing a meal with the mayor anymore. He's a busy man. He's got a lot going on. He's got a new girlfriend. He's got stuff to do, okay? He'll try fast food for you losers later, all right? God damn it. But give him a follow anyway. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you don't already. That's where you can check out the life and times of Psycho Sid. This week he beat up Lenny and Lodi, and then he teamed with his frenemy Kevin Nash to take on frenemies Sting and Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Find out how all of that ended, and make sure you always check out.
And we discuss NWO Black and White versus the NWO Black and Red, and gets very confusing.
Yeah, everything in between. We don't know what the fuck is going on. You don't know what the fuck's going on. Let's all be confused together. We also will have another episode where me, Glenn, and the mayor will watch an episode of WWF Superstars from January 1994. And make sure you're on the lookout next week, because the AWI Pod Rumble is going down next week. I don't know what day. The mayor's going to have to tell me, because he's a busy man. But when I find out, you'll find out. So be on the lookout for that. And we're going to have to do some Royal Rumble picks too, won't we? Because that's coming up next weekend.
We will. It's next weekend. It's on.
Yep. So be on the lookout for both of those coming up next weekend. And subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Blue Sky. That way you'll know what's going on. And I got nothing else to say. That's it. That's all. Glenn, tell the folks goodbye.
Goodbye.